following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
First down. Handoff. Elliott plowing to the goal line. Barry, sacked by Lawrence. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
Here are Mickey Spagnola, Brian Broaddus, Rob Phillips, and Bill Jones.
What's up? Welcome into Talkin Cowboys inside the SWBC Mortgage Studio. I am Rob Phillips, hosting for Bill Jones. Across the table, as always, my good friend Brian Broaddus. Good morning, sir.
Should we try and get all our questions in before Mickey comes rolling in?
Start playing the game?
Just start playing right now.
Because he doesn't want to play.
Mickey hates my games. I'm sorry, Mickey hates my games. I just, I think it's fun. I think you try and, not holding anybody all to this. You just kind of give an opinion on it and move on.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do a little bit of that. And at some point, that chair will be filled. Right now it's empty.
There he comes.
Oh, and there he is.
Yeah.
Grand entrance.
Yeah.
A grand entrance. Kent Garrison next door producing as always. And it's a practice day for your Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
On a Wednesday. It's also Redskins week. When did you write that book on the Redskins, Mickey?
1997.
97.
Yeah.
The matchups you did, something like that?
We did
the great rivalry.
20 best games in Cowboy-Redskin history, 10 wins for each team.
Wow.
Okay.
Wait, you did the research. Didn't we interview the guy one time when we were at Valley Ranch? We interviewed the guy you co-wrote that with, right?
David Elfin?
Yeah, he's a Washington Post guy?
He was a Washington Times guy.
guy.
Of course, the way newspapers have gone, he's been long gone from there also.
Yeah.
So the Redskins seem to be trying to revive the rivalry from what I've seen. They've already put a big banner when you walk into their practice facility, and it's got big, bold letters, and it says Cowboys Week. And that's what it used to be called in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, George Allen.
And now they're doing a promotion because they haven't had a sellout at that stadium in like forever.
Right.
And so they're trying to sell it out. So they're doing a promotion out there. If you have some sort of mean tweet or something, you get 4 free tickets. And they're going to have a concert outside beforehand with some country band called Low Cash.
Yeah.
All capital letters, by the way.
Nice. Okay.
And then they're tweeting out hashtag Beat Cowboys.
Huh.
It's Burgundy Week, by the way.
Burgundy Week.
So the Cowboys better
Ron
get ready.
Burgundy Week.
This is Redskins Week here, by golly.
Kind of a big deal around here.
It's Mickey's right, though. You watch their tape, there's a lot of yellow seats when you see those home games.
Well, you know what they did too is they took out that
Top
far
area,
upper deck. They they didn't block it off. They took the seats out.
Yeah.
And they were going to sell standing room on the kind of way the Cowboys have.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But theirs are at the top of the stadium, and I don't know if they ever did it because I would be scared to stand up there.
It's funny about that game though when I used to make the trips with you guys, that it always seemed like there were a lot of Cowboy fans at those games.
Oh, yeah.
I mean I went back and watched the Romo pass to DeMarco Murray, and the crowd, the fourth down play, the crowd was incredibly loud. And then when Murray scored, it was like,
oh, yeah.
It was like a home game. I mean, I remember standing on the sideline. I forgot because we were all at one end of the field. Murray had scored at the far end, the far corner. And that was one of those disastrous, you try and run a play and you lose 10, so it's second or fourth and goal on the, whatever. Mm-hmm. It's not on the goal line. And so, but I just remember how the crowd reacted. And then I went back and watched it again. I'm like, gosh, I forgot how. I remembered it and I forgot. Then I remembered again. I'm like, man, there's a lot of Cowboy fans that show up there at that FedEx Field.
I've been doing this show in some capacity, starting with the kids' table, since like 04.
Hey, I saw
since the inception, huh?
I saw a show last night, and they had some guy helping out with whatever the lead guy was, and the girl was at the kids' table.
Yeah.
It was in a different spot.
Did she look ridiculous as I did back then?
No,
I don't think you looked ridiculous.
You haven't seen.
I went back and watched all of those shows you guys.
You
did.
found those?
Oh no, you could get them. YouTube is the great. The great time
she
machine.
had her own booth, and it was raised up high, and who's ever hosting the deal was standing up, and then they would have a guest, and the guest would come walking up onto the stage.
Well, that's more. Yeah, I was in this like dark corner anyway.
But it made me think of the kids' table.
Yeah, it was a kids' table, and like it's been this way since we started the show. Like, there's a lot of people that call in and email us from Maryland, Virginia, Nebby and Silver Spring, Upper Marlboro, Maryland.
Right.
I don't know if it's rebellion against your parents,
Two
who are
reasons.
Redskins fans, or what, but there's a lot of Cowboys fans.
I'll give you two reasons. One, when the Cowboys and Tex Schramm were developing their radio network, he got a station on their network in Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Yeah.
And so people got a chance to hear the Cowboy games all the time.
Right.
And they developed fans. The second thing that happened was when Lyndon Johnson took office as the vice president and then became the president after Kennedy was assassinated, all these people from Texas had to come and work in Washington, D.C.
Right.
So it was like a bunch of Cowboy fans were implanted in Washington, D.C. You know, some of them might have stayed, some of them developed friendships, and they became Cowboy fans. So that's kind of how it started back in as early as 1960 when they first started.
It's always been fascinating to me too that they've, even when they realignment, when all that was going on, the Cowboys were just adamant about not moving. They're like, no, we're still gonna play Philadelphia, New York, Washington. You know, your major cities.
I mean, you're playing in the nation's capital, right?
Exactly. I mean, everybody's like, oh, we want to be closer, geographical locations, rivals.
Yeah.
Dallas is like, no, we're going to keep playing the Redskins. We're going to keep playing the Giants. We're going to keep playing the Eagles.
And actually, I mean, when you think about a comfort standpoint, logistically, those are long road trips. It's,
they are.
It's actually harder on you than it is if you're going to Arizona.
Back in the day, they got rid of St. Louis, and then St. Louis goes to Arizona, and they're like, we're going to put them in the West. Okay, fine. There was no fight to move on from St. Louis. There was no fight. I mean, but they'll fight you on. It's important for the Cowboys to have that presence in that part of the country.
I think it's a shame, though, that I bet majority of these people on the team now have no idea.
No, they don't.
What it used to be like?
What it used to be like, or what it is like still with the fans in Washington.
Yeah.
They still get fired up, and they still hate the Cowboys,
right.
And they're still that, it was, I don't know, several years ago, Keller and I were out in Georgetown, and we were watching a game I think they were playing a Monday night game, so we were somewhere watching a game on Sunday night, and there was some guy there, and he found out what we did and everything, and he still was bitter about the Clint Longley game on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
he said, you know what?
Early.
He goes, I couldn't eat my Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah. I was sick to my... And he was probably at that time a teenager, right?
1974.
He ruined my Thanksgiving, and he was still bitter.
Biggest mistake you've ever made as a sports fan?
Oh, yeah.
Leave it
early? I was 11 years old. My family had tickets. Like I said, I went to the game with my grandmother and left the game early. When Staubach got knocked out, we went to the Morton's Food, and we were in the restaurant business, my family. And went to Morton's Foods, had a bus that used to take us and drop us off right next to the gate. So as part of buying their product, we got to ride this bus every home game. Great service. And so, we left early. My grandmother and I were sitting in the bus, and nobody's in the bus. And everybody comes storming on. Everybody's yelling, cheering, and all. I'm like, what happened? And Clint Longley,
so the bus didn't leave for you. You had to wait till the game was over.
It was a Dallas City bus, one of those Dallas City buses, not the yellow ones, but remember the old back.
Yeah,
in the
when
day,
you had to sit
they
sideways.
Were like green and
right?
all. Yeah, okay. So they had this bus, and Morton's Food had a bar on it and food and all that. So all the people that that bought product from them got to ride this bus, and these people came back. I'll never forget that. 11 years old, sitting there, and those people, we won. They put Clint Longley in, and he threw. And I looked at my grandmother, and she says, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, from that point on, I never left a sporting event early.
No matter traffic, nothing.
No matter what, I'm just not going to do it because of that right there. 11. Here I am, 54 years old now, and I remember that like it was yesterday. But, I was going to ask you guys, as far as NFC sports hate rivals, what NFC East team do you dislike the most? Sports hate.
Of the three options?
Giants,
Eagles, or Redskins?
Yeah. And see, Mickey brought up, and the reason why I wanted to ask that is because Mickey brought up that point of, I grew up not liking the Redskins at all because we being a fan, own the Eagles. We own the Giants. The Redskins were a whole different thing. So I wonder if sports hate, the older crowd still hates the Redskins, but then the younger crowd is like Eagles.
Oh, I'm sure that's what it is.
Yeah.
And, and the reason it started was, even though the Cowboys were bad when they first began in the 60s, the Redskins were as bad.
Right.
And they didn't get good until the early 70s.
Yeah, George Allen
when
came
George Allen got
rolling
there.
In there, yeah.
And so all of a sudden the Redskins were taking away something that I think the Cowboys thought was their inalienable right to win the NFC East every year.
Right.
And they beat them a couple years. Then they beat them in the playoffs that one year.
Oh, yeah.
And then this thing really cranked up.
Yeah.
Before it was just kind of a fan thing, and then it became a player thing.
It became personal.
And think about it, you had the same players playing each other twice a year.
Forever.
There was no free agency, so you played the same guys 10 years. You go ask Roger Staubach, he'll still get fired up.
Yeah.
He'll still get mad about them knocking them out of that 74 Thanksgiving game because they said they were going to do it, and they did it.
Yeah.
And said, that's all we got to do because that's all they got, and we'll beat them.
Yeah, the league encouraged you to talk poorly about the other team and try and knock their players out.
It's like pro wrestling.
And then we get the bounty bowls and stuff like that where, we shouldn't go out. We shouldn't be hunting players, But back then, the newspaper guys, the stories back and forth between Washington and Dallas, and you didn't have ESPN and all these people, the interviews, mics in the face. What you were hearing was what you were reading. Mm-hmm. That's what you saw, and that's
and actually, and tonight, by the way, we'll get into it because our guest on the Legends shows is Dennis Thurman, who was right in the middle of the deal in the late 70s and through the 80s.
Yeah.
And in 85, they became Thurman's thieves because they had so many interceptions.
Right.
Well, the first game of the year, the opener was against Washington on a Monday night game, and it was Joe Theismann's birthday.
Yeah.
And they picked him, I think it was either 4 or 5 times. And by time the 5th pick and they took him out, the whole place stood up and started singing happy birthday to Theismann.
Theismann, yeah.
And they would call him Joey. It wasn't Joe. It was happy birthday, Joey.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And I'm sure Dennis remembers that vividly.
Sports fandom was... I hate to be back in the day. I love back in the day.
The fun thing was back then covering those games at RFK is
that place moved.
You could take the Metro, and it would drop you off like 2.5, 3 blocks from the stadium. So you're walking through all the fans,
through the crowd,
and they're getting jacked up for the game, and they're selling their Cowboys suck T-shirts, and also there was some with not an S in front of the UCK.
Yeah.
And it was just unbelievable. It was like as a writer, you got ready for the game. It's something really important's getting ready to happen.
Absolutely.
Here.
And I think you nailed it because roster turnover, the parity now, the salary cap, the roster's changed so much that there's not that contempt bred by familiarity.
Yeah, you don't have the John Riggins and Joe Theismanns and Art Monks and then way back in the day, like the Jack Pardees and the Pat Fishers. And these are all guys I grew up just despising. I see those guys. I see Sonny Jurgensen he was, I don't know, I think he's still doing the games. I think he is. But I see Sonny Jurgensen, I saw him in a press box one time in Buffalo. And I went up to him and I said, Mr. Jurgensen, I introduced myself. He said, oh, yeah. He had a cigar hanging out of the corner of his mouth. And I just sat there for like 30 minutes. We're talking about the rivalry. And he was telling stories that were just, and again, I know fans today are kind of going, shut up, Broadus. But for a kid growing up in that era, it's like the guy who grows up in New York City that's a Yankee fan that gets to talk to Mickey Mantle or gets to talk to Whitey Ford or gets to talk to those great, players back then. That's how I grew up. That's how I got involved with football because of the rivalries with the Redskins and like that.
Here's how it's changed. I know because since I've started covering this team, the closest thing I can think of to a really bitter rivalry within the division. And tell me if I'm wrong. Maybe 10 years ago with the Giants, with Brandon Jacobs, and he would talk every week and try to get Creighton and those guys fired up. That's the closest thing I can think of. And now it's kind of maybe it's shifting to Philly. And with Philly, it's about their fans as much as anything.
Yeah. See, I worked there for a year. I kind of appreciate the Philly fan because I lived there for a year and worked there.
They're great fans, but they're not, you wouldn't take them
home
to
mom,
mom,
exactly. It's tough. But my sports hatred for Washington Redskins is still intense. It still is intense. I wish we still played at that old RFK because I miss those places. I miss seeing. I would probably go on road trips if we still played at places like that. I really would. Now Mickey will tell you he had to hide around a corner to look through a little to watch a game. He got thrown outside and he had to look through a little narrow crack to see the field. Am I right about that, Mickey?
No, that was in St. Louis.
Okay, I thought it was.
But at RFK. The press box was basically open air. We were covered by the overhang of the stands, but it was open air. So if it was
you bundled
20
up.
degrees outside, you're sitting out there.
Typing
and
away.
It's really hard to type with gloves on. And then you would go in this little room where they'd serve you food before the game, halftime, and the heat would be on to like 95 degrees. Yeah. So choose your poison. Freeze or sweat to death while you were writing. And there was no room there. I remember vividly when they won their one game in 1989. It was the 9th game of the season. They were 8-0, or were they 0-8 or 0-9? And it was a Sunday night game for some godforsaken reason. And I was sitting, it was so crowded in the press box, I had to sit like sideways with my left shoulder forward because Blackie Sherrod was next to me, and he was basically in my lap. And it was like,
and he wasn't going to move.
And it was like one of those folding chairs, one of those wooden folding chairs they used to have at the VFW, And it was like, seriously?
The old Metrodome was kind of like that, but that sounds worse.
And you know what? And I got to give Skip Bayless credit. He came up with the greatest name for RFK, Rickety Field for Knuckleheads.
That's it.
Wow.
And he was right.
Yeah, he was right.
Those people were crazy.
So you're saying sports writers were tougher back in the day, too?
Yes, they were.
It was a tougher time.
You had to carry your typewriter.
Yeah,
you had to carry your typewriter up the stairs.
There's no email to file your story.
No.
You had to dictate it over the phone.
No, him and Gary Myers almost got in a fight over a telephone one time, right?
It was quite an experience. When you're going through it, you look at it as a hardship.
Yeah.
And when you think back and you go, that was pretty damn cool.
I miss those days. I mean, I would if I was a reporter, I would have missed those days of like, kind of just getting in the middle of everybody. My favorite movie is 8 Men Out.
Great movie.
And so I'm like riding the train with the players and drinking and smoking.
Cigars.
Why not?
I've got a book of stories, but the two that stand out the most had to do with Harvey Martin.
Yeah.
They were playing.
Ring of Honor.
They were playing up there one year, and you had to go through the dugout to go into the locker room. So you were really close to the fans. And before the week of one of the games, they were playing at RFK. Story came out that Harvey had to file for bankruptcy, right? Yeah. So he tells me the story that he goes after the game, we got beat. He goes, I was going in after warm-ups. And he goes, I'm going into the dugout, and all of a sudden I hear something's hitting me in the helmet. He's like, ping, ping, ping. And they were throwing like coins at him.
Yeah.
And some guy yells out, "Hey, Harv, do you need a loan?"
Oh, gee.
And they were throwing him change. And one year they were going in after the game. They won.
Yeah.
And somebody cracked a beer bottle over, I think it was Charlie Waters' helmet.
Jeez.
And
God.
Yeah.
Randy White was walking with him, Harvey and Cliff. And Randy or Harvey looked and says, "All right, let's go." And they went into the stands and beat the snot out of the guy.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
My last real quick Harvey Martin story is someone put a wreath.
I know this one.
And
yes.
he opened the Redskins dressing room door and threw the wreath.
It's like a funeral wreath.
A funeral wreath.
They sent it to him. It was 79.
Yeah.
And it was the game here at
don't do
Texas
this anymore.
Stadium. And the winner,
Earl Thomas.
the winner was going to win the NFC East. The loser was not going to make the playoffs. And about midweek, this wreath. It was a funeral wreath. Shows up at their practice facility, and it has a sign on there, you Cowboys, you're dead, or whatever, something like that. So they kept it, and on Saturday, somebody said, Harv, what are you going to do with that? Yeah. He goes, I don't know. And he goes, why don't you bring it with you? Yeah. Bring it to the stadium. So they had it in the locker room, and they won. And there's a picture of Harvey in his uniform.
Full patch, helmet
on,
everything.
Carrying the wreath, and he's going up the tunnel at Texas Stadium where the visitors were. And a lot of the guys didn't even know where that tunnel was. Right. They had no idea. And he opens the door and throws it in there, and it's like, take that, we're not dead. And they were in the middle, they were all kneeling in the middle of their post-game prayer.
Oh, my God.
Shucks a wreath. Where are those days? I love bits.
I do. That's WWE style, man.
And
bring that back.
One of the reporters at the Washington Post, I don't know if it was weeks later or years later, researched it and found out that it was really a Cowboy fan that purchased the wreath and sent it to him as incentive. Yeah. And when I told Harvey about the story, he goes, I don't believe that. I know it was a Redskins fan sending that.
Of course. Sports hate.
There's nothing like good sports hate.
Gotta love sports hate.
We'll try to rekindle that a little bit today. That was good. That was good.
Wreath on the screen there.
Yeah.
You want to look?
Oh, there we go.
There it is. Oh, Kent, you're the man.
Great job, Kent.
Way to go,
If
Kent.
you're watching along with us today, and I hope maybe if you're listening, go back and look at us. But Kent's got it right there.
Oh, I wish I would have. I didn't know we'd get into
Great
this.
job.
Thanks to 5pointsblue.com for that.
Yeah.
I could have brought my book down because we have a black and white picture of that in the book.
Good job.
Bring it tomorrow or Friday.
Okay. We'll do it Fan Friday.
Yeah. That's a good idea. Yeah. All right. By the way, 888-855-2297 is the number.
I enjoy that kind of talk. I'm
love it.
Probably driving folks nuts.
No,
I relived a little bit there.
Let's get everybody fired up for this rivalry.
Absolutely.
It's rekindled this week, this Sunday.
Sports hate the Redskins.
Hey, a lot of fans out there do, and a lot of fans probably up there in Redskin country do as well. So, all right, Brian, you got some tough questions for us coming up.
I got some questions. I don't know if they're tough. I got some questions.
All right, we'll get to those out of the break. And before we get out of here over the next hour, we will talk a little bit about this Redskins defense and the challenge they present the Dallas offense. But we'll get to Brian's tough questions next on Talkin' Cowboys.
Essilor has been helping Cowboys fans see better since 1972 so they don't miss a moment on the field. Get glasses with Essilor's best vision, clarity, and protection with the Essilor Ultimate Lens Package. 3 innovative technologies in one lens. For a limited time, you can double your lenses for free when you purchase the Essilor Ultimate Lens Package and get a second pair of frames. Find a participating eye care professional and details by visiting EssilorUSA.com. That's EssilorUSA.com. Terms and conditions apply.
If you're like me and you love... if you have a thing, then cutting the cord is scary. But then I found out I could switch to DirecTV Now and still get the live sports I love. No satellite needed, no bulky hardware, no annual contract, just...
Get the live sports you love. Try DirecTV Now for $10 a month for 3 months. Visit DirecTVNow.com. DirecTV Now. More for your thing. That's our thing. Use code REALDEAL. Limited time. Price for little package. After 3 months, renews monthly at full price. Currently minimum $40 unless canceled. Prices may change. New subscribers only. Cancel anytime. Content varies by package and may be limited. Restrictions apply.
A man's Stetson doesn't just protect him from life's elements. It projects an unstoppable and legendary spirit, just like the men wearing silver and navy on the field every Sunday. Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. They are still the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find Stetson hats in the Pro Shop or at Stetson.com today.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine being shipwrecked on a desert island, alone. Glass-like curls of surf pound the shore with Dr. Pepper-colored waves. Surrounded by desire, but you can't drink it because it's the ocean, fish live in there. The only thing you want is Dr. Pepper, and you can't have it.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Tommy John gives you the feeling of freedom where it counts with a contour pouch that nestles the boys.
Of course.
With over 3 million pairs sold, we've put in the hustle to make sure you're nestled.
Yeah.
Golly.
I gave you the shortest one.
Shop exclusive Cowboys underwear at TommyJohn.com /Cowboys.
Very good.
That's different than Get Jack Black.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, you got that one coming up too.
I know, and you know where I left it? On my desk after I went to the trouble of getting it, printing it, laminating it, and then I left it on my desk.
No.
That's okay, man. I kind of
Tomorrow's
Mickey,
another day.
I'm right there with you.
Tomorrow's another day.
I'm right there with you.
I like it when you wing it anyway.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back to Talking Cowboys inside the SWBC Mortgage Studio. We're here for the next 30-odd minutes. Cowboys return to practice today. Jason Garrett will be live at 10:35 Central Time right after this show. But as we start segment 2, Brian, you got a little game for us today.
I always like to ask a few questions, and as Mickey always asks me, I need to answer the question as well, and that's important, and I do agree with him on that. And my first question for you guys are you surprised how smoothly the defense has played without Sean Lee?
Yes. I thought they were better prepared to absorb his loss, but I was worried not so much from a talent standpoint, because I think we kind of got a taste of what Jalen Smith was going to be this year. Wasn't totally sold from the beginning on Leighton Vander Esch. Figured he'd need some time.
Sure.
But I was worried more about how organized they would be. Who would be the guy that gets
you're
them
nailing
set
it
up
right now.
and diagnose the plays.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, Vander Esch seems to diagnose plays. He's got some of that
Instinct.
Sean Lee
Sure
sixth
does.
sense out there.
Sure does.
I think that I think they've absorbed his loss better than I expected, seeing that they lost 10 of 11 over the previous 3 years when either he didn't play or didn't finish a game because of injury.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at how they really haven't seemed to miss a beat.
It's a good answer, Mickey, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm not that surprised that they've still been able to function well, but the level they've continued to play at has been surprising.
Yeah.
Because this was a dominant effort last week, and really, when you look at the numbers, what they're doing,
It seems like they've gotten better.
Yes.
Not without, but the things that we thought that were like, okay, this is like Mickey said, instinctually, how are things going to go? Are they going to be able to communicate? Are they going to be able to line up? Are they going to be able to make plays? It seems like every week that they've gotten better, and I don't think it's lack of Sean Lee. I just think the linebackers have gotten better.
Yeah, I didn't worry as much as some people did about the communication part of it,
Right.
because Jalen Smith's been in this defense a couple years now. Even when he wasn't playing, he's been around it. You got Chris Richard, who's a good coach, as that passing game coordinator to kind of marry the back end with the front seven. But Vander Esch is the one who surprised me the most. And I know we talked about this a little bit yesterday. I didn't think he would be this good this early, given the time that he missed in preseason.
Yeah.
And he's been outstanding.
We were talking about that last night at happy hour.
Yeah.
That if with Vander Esch, with the time he missed in the OTAs and then into training camp, you're thinking, oh, is this a setback? Is this going to be a huge setback? But I totally agree with what you guys are saying there. I was like Mickey. I was worried about, okay, who is going to hold things together? Remember, I was the one screaming for a trade for Earl Thomas because I was worried with Sean Lee going out, who was going to hold the defense together. I was thinking, okay, if you got Earl Thomas, then Earl Thomas can be the glue if Sean Lee somehow misses 3 games.
Yep.
Who's going to be the glue? Little did I know, the glue has been the play of them. It hasn't been the leadership. It's been the play of the front seven. It's been the play of the secondary. The way they've been able to hold up. So, yeah, I count me as surprised that it's gone as smoothly as it has.
And the overall talent on the defense is better than it was last year. These guys from last year, the rookies, are a year older.
Yeah.
This is the deepest defensive line now that I can remember since Rod has been the defensive coordinator. And it should only get better as long as David Irving is on the field and engaged and all that stuff.
Probably going to miss today, right? We're going to get a David Irving report. Mickey,
You know what?
About
He
that yet,
he said after the game that he thought he would get back here in time for practice.
Okay, so this is a local.
Yes.
Local.
Yeah,
we're doing
okay. And he said something about
thank you, Judge, for working early.
First thing in the morning, like 8 or 9 o'clock, and so he thought he'd be here. He said it in the locker room after the game.
Vote for that, Judge.
Who knows? Because you know how courts go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Things get delayed
Go
or
at their own
extended.
speed. Yes.
Okay. And one other thing on this leadership thing before you go to the next one, I think a guy that has somewhat emerged has been Jeff Heath.
Yeah. That's a good point too.
He seems to
kind of be calming back there.
Calming, not a rah guy,
right.
but just kind of knowing what's going on
right.
and helping those other young guys out.
Yeah.
And even in the locker room, he's been a little bit. Well, people have asked him questions, but he's more outspoken. Like
he's a quiet guy.
He'll give you some information.
He'll knock you out, but he's quiet.
Listen. Yeah. That tackle he made last Sunday. Holy cow!
He will make some plays. Okay, my next question for you guys is the player that has been quiet early but is due to break out in the second half here. You have somebody in mind that has been a little quiet, and then all of a sudden, though, you're feeling like, okay, this guy's going to have that, carry you through a few games.
You're chuckling, Mick.
I know, because it's the same answer I come up with every week. Is this guy is going to bust out, and it's Michael Gallup.
Michael Gallup. I was kind of thinking you were going to go that direction. But, Gallup.
If he gets the chance.
That's what I'm saying. I keep asking, and Mickey, I see you keep asking in, the audience, hey, give him a chance. Give him a chance. And I'm waiting for him to be that guy. I agree with Mickey again. I think he's the guy that needs to be take it to him a little more. Just go ahead and trust him a little more. Try and, you get him going early in that game, and I'm sure somebody will say, well, Broadus, he ran the route, it clanged off his hands, da-da-da-da-da. I get that, but I just think there's too much talent there.
Yeah.
I just think there's too much talent there. Let me ask you this. What we've seen how about Taco? It's a tough matchup this week against Trent Williams. Let's not. When we get into that, when the Redskin offense, it's not going to be easy for him to have to deal. But what about a guy like Taco?
He's the guy.
Malik Collins?
I was going to go with Malik second. Got his first sack last week. Now he plays. If he's playing,
Jarwin?
He's playing the nose.
Yeah.
If Malik's playing the nose, the numbers are harder to get to. I
Right.
think than you're playing that under tackle. The guy I was going to say is Randy Gregory. If you look what he's done the last 2 games. I think he had 40 snaps. I wrote about this yesterday. He had 5 quarterback pressures against Houston.
There you go.
Then he only played 17 snaps last week with, kind of a knee issue.
Yeah.
And gets his first sack and is around the ball more and is kind of playing through stuff. He showed them something the last couple games. Now, can he continue to be consistent with it? But that is encouraging these last couple games that he's played.
You're with your receiver though, Mickey.
I'm going to stay with him.
I don't
disagree with you, dude. I think he's the dude. He's the most. It's the first time I've ever duded you. I think in 15 years. He might be the most explosive receiver on this team, just in terms of pure ability to separate down the field.
The previous game you mentioned, Houston, he had 4 solo tackles, 3 assisted tackles, so 7 total.
Randy,
and
you're talking about here?
5 quarterback pressures. 5. And this last game, I don't have it, but
he played 17 snaps and had
I was confusing him with Irving. He had 3 tackles, 2 for loss. He had the sack, and he had 3 or 4 quarterback hits. So not bad for 17 snaps.
I was just kind of thinking like him. I think it was going to be one of those defensive ends. Him, Taco. Maybe, like you said, David Irving, could be a part of that.
You know who's starting to flash in more plays? Is Xavier Woods. And I'm not saying it because of his interception.
No, there you go.
Because that was an overthrow and it was basically thrown up for grabs.
I don't disagree with you on that.
You're starting to see 25 closer to the ball, especially when the ball's going downfield.
Yeah, he's funny. He's taken that Houston game kind of clicked something for him as far as taking a run at some of those offensive players. With Watson's running the sidelines, he's running over there. He's banging in the guys' stuff. I was thinking, oh, okay, something's happened here. Chris Richard said something to him, got him kind of going. Now he's trying to light some people up. He got that big hit in the game. It got a penalty. I don't know how you avoid that penalty.
You can't.
Because
either
let him catch it or you get the penalty.
Yep, can't let him catch it.
Can't let him catch it for sure. So, Okay, you got a time for another one, Rob?
Yeah, let's do it.
Describe Connor Williams' rookie season in one word.
Can
I say mine?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I went the word encouraging.
Okay.
And I went encouraging because I feel like I've seen him getting better each week. I feel like I'm seeing him, I was worried about him in this Jacksonville game and them sliding that Calais Campbell down inside. I worried about Malik Jackson. I didn't hear a lot from those guys. And a lot had to do with what the tackles were doing, but Connor Williams, I don't think he's, maybe early we thought, okay, a little bit of a liability with the power and the strength and all that. But I'm encouraged by the way he's played so far. I really am. And this week, again, we'll talk about it. It won't be easy with Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen and those guys. I mean, those are two big War Daddy-type defensive tackles. But I'm encouraged by Connor Williams, what I've seen with him pulling, the pass protection, the things like that.
He had a pull block to get Zeke free on the right side, captured the edge. I can't remember. I think it was maybe first half.
Yeah.
It was just the athleticism. Super impressive.
Maybe that's the word, athleticism.
Well, that's the first thing you notice about him. I might say battling.
Yeah.
Because like we've talked about it, he's faced some guys that are just stronger than him.
Right.
But he doesn't back down from it. And
right.
It may take him a year to build that strength up. But he hasn't backed down from challenges, and it hasn't been perfect, but he's been solid.
I worried about him, too, with no Travis Frederick.
Yeah.
That's where because I thought, okay, at least Travis Frederick will help him, because Travis Frederick's capable of doing that. Travis Frederick was capable of knowing his assignments, knowing your assignments, and executing both your assignments, his assignments and your assignments. So, with Joe, I was worried about Joe just having to worry about his own assignments and trying to execute those. But I think that Connor Williams in some one-on-one stuff has actually been pretty good.
He gets a break this week because they cut Ziggy Hood.
They did do that yesterday, huh?
Yeah.
Redskins? Yeah.
He was a backup, but that's because Jonathan Allen and
those guys
and Payne are pretty darn good.
Yeah, they are.
I'm going to have to use a compound word that I'm going to make up, okay?
Okay.
Because this is the first thing that came to my mind. Arrow up.
Arrow up?
Arrow up.
There we go.
With a hyphen.
Yes.
One word.
Or we could make it one word if we want.
I would write it that way, and that yellow line or that red line would come underneath it.
That would.
Yeah, right. Get that red line off of my copy.
How do you, hyphen that?
No, when I make up words, I get tired when I see that. Yeah.
But you're saying arrow up because you're encouraged by what
encouraged. I think the more he plays, the better he gets, and I think they're figuring out ways to use him where he's more productive. On the move, he's awfully darn good on the move. And when you got two guards like that, let's get back to the Packers student. Let's do the
Lombardi sweep.
Lombardi sweep.
Student body right. USC.
Student body right. Yeah. Let's go.
That's nothing wrong with that.
You want to hit one more before break?
One more for the break, if I could. Do you see the bubble bursting for Brett Maher? How do I say his name? Maher.
Yeah.
Brett Maher.
Well, I hope I didn't.
Do you see the bubble bursting for Brett Maher?
I hope I didn't jinx him yesterday because I wrote about how, if we're going to rip the Cowboys front office for, all right, tight end, receiver, maybe they didn't project well enough there.
Yeah.
You can argue that if you want. For now, they nailed this decision because this guy has been absolute money.
Yeah.
I went back and looked at it. Dan Bailey, I think, had a stretch of 22 consecutive field goals back in 2013, and he made 18 a few years ago in a row. This guy's at 15 and counting, you hope. And they've been pretty much down the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, they've
There's
been
a couple
perfect.
where he's like, it's a miss. Oh, it's good.
Couple hooks, but he's been as steady as you could ask for.
This will be a pretty good test for him.
Yeah, chopped up field,
grass,
outdoors.
You don't know what the wind's going to be doing,
Right.
and then you start thinking because really when the first one he missed had a little bit to do with the wind.
Right.
It
was outdoors too.
Drifted it
on
outside
grass.
on grass,
Yeah.
so it's a little bit of a different story. But it is bubble bursting, meaning he misses one.
I'm just saying. Is the bubble bursting? Does he continue on?
Rob heard me when we were in Houston. I said, he's due to miss one, right? He's going to miss one, and he hasn't.
He's reset the bar. The bar was way down here.
Yeah.
There wasn't a bar in preseason. We didn't even know he was a candidate, honestly.
Yeah.
So what's he
high.
made now? Is it 15
to 16?
15 in a row.
So that percentage has got to be in the 90 range.
Yeah.
I think he's leading the NFC or he's one of the top in scoring, if I'm not mistaken.
If you keep this up, you're in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Honestly. I mean, in the AFC, Justin Tucker's going to make it.
I don't see the guy failing. I really don't. Maybe I'm totally jinxing him here, but I just don't see it. But Mickey's right. Again, looking at tape, the field is chopped up. When you guys walk the field on Sunday, you're going to see a chopped up field. You're going to no telling what the weather conditions are going to be. Anybody look at that? I know Mickey loves to look at the weather.
I haven't.
It's too early.
Too early for that.
I don't have to pack.
But how many times? I mean, last year you guys played a driving rainstorm in that game. So who knows with the weather that's all here is heading that way or towards that way. So I feel like that. I don't think it will for this guy.
He's 15 of 16. It's 938. So 93, almost 94%. There's a couple guys that are 8 of 8. Oh, they've messed this thing up. One guy's 16 of 17, and they've got him at 1,000%. Yeah, it's not really 1,000%, is it?
Welcome to the league.
So,
in the immortal words of Bill Parcells, one wrong, all wrong.
Yeah,
that's what Bill used to tell me. I'd hand him something. He goes, "That's not right." I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "One wrong, all wrong." And I'm like, "Okay."
Actually, that was my thinking when I, back in the day editing copy.
Oh yeah.
If you make a fact mistake here, how do I believe?
How do you believe the other ones?
Sure.
Did? Yeah.
You can't do it.
But the facts are, this kid's kicking.
But he's going to miss one. I don't think the bubble bursts, and I think he seems too strong mentally to go downhill.
Well, yeah. I mean, we thought that about Bailey.
This was an incredible risk that they took.
Unbelievable risk.
And halfway through, it's paying off for him. Now,
Bailey was a little different circumstance. He got hurt.
I'm not saying he's mentally weak,
and he
but
may
I'm just saying
come back too soon.
That's a fair point.
For him, it was like a golf swing. It just kind of went south.
Like for Tiger Woods not winning for 5 years.
Yeah, kind of. I mean,
I think it was a carryover into the off season.
Yeah,
and one of the reasons why they brought this guy in, he could punt and he can kick.
Save a leg.
Give everybody a break during training camp. And then I just don't think they got scared of sort of the mental nature of Bailey in training camp because he didn't kick
That's
poorly.
Exactly right.
And they also saw this kid not miss.
Yeah.
So
that's another thing.
And then they looked at the salaries and said,
He didn't make everyone. I remember a couple ugly kicks he had early, right?
Sure, he missed one in preseason too.
Yeah. But
San
then
Francisco.
He settled down, and then it was like, he's making everything. And and part of me thought in the game Sunday that at the end when they kicked a 55-yarder, they didn't need to do that. Right, but I think they thought, you know what?
Let's give him some confidence.
Let's send him out there. And, let's see what he can do from 55 in a game.
All right,
and he nailed it.
Yeah.
He has nailed it. 10 games to go, long way to go, but he is playing extremely well right now. Let's take our final break. When we come back, I've got a specific question for you guys about this Redskins defense next on Talkin Cowboys.
If you're like me and you love... if you have a thing, then cutting the cord is scary. But then I found out I could switch to DirecTV Now and still get the live sports I love. No satellite needed, no bulky hardware, no annual contract, just...
Get the live sports you love. Try DirecTV Now for $10 a month for 3 months. Visit DirecTVNow.com. DirecTV Now. More for your thing. That's our thing. Use code REALDEAL. Limited time. Price for a little package. After 3 months, renews monthly at full price. Currently minimum $40 unless canceled. Prices may change. New subscribers only. Cancel anytime. Content varies by package and may be limited. Restrictions apply.
It's time for tailgating with the OtterBox boys.
The OtterBox that builds those crazy protective phone cases?
Yup. And now they're changing the side dish game with the OtterBox Trooper Soft Cooler. Lightweight, mobile, and leak-proof, Trooper is perfect for blitzing a crowded parking lot with a Frito pie.
Amazing. Hey, you think I could fit my 7-layer salmon salad into the Trooper cooler?
Yup, but please don't.
And that's been Tailgating with the OtterBox boys. Learn more about the Trooper soft coolers at otterbox.com.
While a player can look good on paper, it's when he's out on the field that you really find out what he's made of. That's why the Cowboys rely on more than stats and scouting reports when building their team. When picking a tractor, it's why you should rely on more than specs and features as well. You got to take it out and put it to the test. The Cowboys did when they named John Deere their official tractor. To experience one for yourself, visit your local Texas John Deere dealer or go to myjohndeeredealer.com/football.
It can be hard to find the right resource for learning about important financial matters. You search how to build savings, you end up reading about the one weird ingredient from supermarkets that can make you taller. That's why Bank of America built BetterMoneyHabits.com, a safe little corner of the internet for answering your financial questions. Full of simple videos and tips, Better Money Habits can show you how to make the most of your money without resorting to random searches that always seem to lead to unbelievable photos of childhood stars grown up. To learn more, visit BetterMoneyHabits.com.
Essilor has been helping Cowboys fans see better since 1972 so they don't miss a moment on the field. Get glasses with Essilor's best vision, clarity, and protection with the Essilor Ultimate Lens Package. 3 innovative technologies in one lens. For a limited time, you can double your lenses for free when you purchase the Essilor Ultimate Lens Package and get a second pair of frames. Find a participating eye care professional and details by visiting EssilorUSA.com. That's EssilorUSA.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Do you guys want to do what the pros do? Do you want to do what we do? You need to go get you some Jack Black. It's the best stuff that we have found here over the last couple years. And special offer, the JB Faves. You get your 4 favorite Get Jack Black products for $10. $10. Free shipping. Mm-hmm. And all you got to do is use the promo code Cowboys. Go to getjackblack.com.
Very good, Mick.
Bill Jones' voice there at the end.
Yeah.
Yes.
Little grr in there. By the way, real quickly, I don't have the liner, and I'm not Bill Jones, but check out Kaboo, Texas.
Yeah.
May 10th through 12th out at AT&T Stadium. Not just a music festival. Got something for everybody. You got great cuisine, got art exhibits, you got everything. Should be outstanding.
Somebody stole that too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They better quit taking our stuff.
I don't know who they is, but
yeah, we got a camera on this.
You realize we're first, and there's like 3 shows after
there's
sometimes.
Just no liners here.
We're gonna tie it down
right there.
Okay, we'll do that. All right, we only got a few minutes left in the show.
How'd that happen?
A lot of Redskin talk today.
Harvey Martin talk.
Harvey Martin and Reese, and yeah.
It's Harvey Martin week.
Yeah, there we go.
Memorial week.
We might have time to squeeze in a phone call at the end if you guys want to call in. 888-855-2297 is the number. I wanted to touch quickly on the Redskins defense because we saw this renaissance from the Cowboys offense on Sunday against Jacksonville. 40 points. Just nobody saw that coming. Now they face a Redskins defense, guys, that against the run just shut down the best running attack in the NFL through 5 weeks, Carolina. 81 yards. And what's interesting to me about it, guys, is the read option that we've seen already head-to-head, Cam Newton, Christian McCaffrey. Number one, you see the Cowboys trying that more and actually continuing what we saw with Dak running more. And 2, is this a bad matchup given with the way the Redskins handled that this past Sunday?
Yeah, I went back and I did get to see the Carolina game. I didn't know if anybody else did.
I did.
I think,
yes.
Okay. So, yeah, it was. I don't think that the Carolina was totally committed to doing it.
Well, who was running the ball for them?
Yeah,
McCaffrey.
Well, McCaffrey was trying to run it, but I don't think they. It looked like to me they came into the game trying to throw the ball initially, and they got behind in this game.
They did in the fourth quarter. They got 20-9.
Yeah, they got behind, and all of a sudden we talk about if you can make somebody one dimensional, and Carolina, when Carolina can't play either tied or with a lead, Cam Newton's really not interested in running all that much. I mean they've got to have that. They've got to have that as part of their package. When they get behind, then all of a sudden it turns into, okay, we got to throw the ball. I think Dallas will be more committed to trying to do some of the stuff, the read option stuff, the RPO stuff. It's what makes it difficult is when we talked about this, where I mentioned, with Jonathan Allen, they made a big time commitment, 17th overall pick. I had him as a top 5 guy. in the draft coming out when he did in 2017, had some shoulder issues that maybe dropped him down the board a little bit but
he only played 5 games last year, I think.
This Daron Payne, Preston Smith, Ryan Kerrigan, they've got guys they've got power, but you got Preston Smith and you got Kerrigan. And what those guys can do is they run, and but you could take advantage of them a little bit with the ability, because they're going to chase. They're going to chase. So if you do get them chasing the ball inside, well, maybe you bounce it, because the way the Redskins like to play it is when they chase inside, they'll have those linebackers scrape over the top.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where if you can, and that's where we saw the Cowboys have some success last week, is as fast as Jacksonville's linebackers were, they were able to get bodies up onto those guys and then make it difficult for them to have to make a play. So I don't really know how committed Carolina was to running the football, because I felt like they got behind in that game.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it became, Green Bay, and I watched that game. They didn't even try and run. The Saints just demoralized them the way, that Drew Brees was throwing the football.
So they haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher,
right?
But maybe it's a little misleading. McCaffrey had 20 yards on 8 carries. He ripped off 2 8-yard runs on the first drive of the game, and after that had nothing. I just noticed when they did run the RPO, they were crashing in on him.
Yeah,
and it makes me think, and I don't know how much the Cowboys will use that, but they're going to commit bodies to Zeke and try to stop him.
Yeah, they know that's. Their survival defensively depends on that. Now, this is a secondary that has Josh Norman, and they have a young guy named Quentin Dunbar, who you could read about today. He's one of my under the radar guys. He gets a lot of play because people don't want to attack Josh Norman, but I don't think I would go away. Like last week we talked about Jalen Ramsey and what he was able to do. I don't think you go away from Josh Norman. I really don't. I think Josh Norman, especially now they're playing just a ton of zone coverage here. So, okay, how do you find ways? And he's going to sit on one side of the field. He's not going to move around and travel with guys. I haven't seen that so far. I don't expect him to travel with Cole Beasley. And then that means that Fabian Moreau, who they drafted in the third round in the 17 draft from UCLA, is your nickel player. So I just feel like, though, that I would not be afraid to go after Josh Norman. I think Josh Norman, I'm not saying his better days are gone, but I don't think Josh Norman is this, oh, my God, we got to stay away from you guy. I think that, I think there's some things you can do to Josh Norman you could take advantage of him. And I think you could take advantage of this Quentin Dunbar with some double move stuff. He's really anxious about, getting in there, but to the Cowboys game plan, Zeke, read option, RPO, waggles, boots, throw the ball down the field to Michael Gallup if you can, because I see those are opportunities down there.
2 points. They got off to the Redskins got off to a 17-0 lead.
That was huge.
Carolina only ran the ball 18 times.
Yeah.
And their best run was an end around by Moore. Is that DJ Moore?
DJ Moore, yeah.
He had an 18-yard run. Cam ran the ball 9 times for 43 yards. That's almost 5 yards a carry.
A lot of it was he just had to keep it because they weren't going to let McCaffrey get the ball.
So I'll take that.
Yeah.
They only ran it 18 times. They had 81 yards. And the Saints didn't try to run it. They didn't need to run against them.
Right.
They just passed.
Yeah.
Second point, I saw headlines about Josh Norman's back. Had an interception, forced a fumble.
Right.
I could have intercepted that ball.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Cam Newton was hit when he threw the ball, and it fluttered up like a duck.
Yeah.
And it went right to him. And the darn thing about it was, if Cam Newton's arm didn't get hit, his guy was behind him.
They were
it was
behind.
Be
Yeah.
a touchdown.
Yeah. Safety
so
was
I
laid
ain't
over.
buying this. He's starting to talk a better game. He played so bad against New Orleans, they benched him.
Well, he had a locker room thing at halftime with Gruden.
Yeah, well,
and that led to the benching. That's the report.
Go sit down.
He did give up 2 touchdown passes in that game.
So,
I think.
they've got some guys up front, but I think, it's another 3-4 defense.
Yeah,
got to be able to block defensive ends play.
Yeah, got to block them. You got to make sure these guys are. The thing that I always am concerned about is the inside power. When you got Looney and you got Connor, but so far so good. These guys have held up well. I think you're going to have to continue. Ryan Kerrigan is one of those guys. I think he's one of the most underappreciated players in the league because he is always going after the ball. He is always trying to make plays. He hustles. His effort is tremendous. He plays on a football team that's been up and down, so he hasn't got the credit. But you have to make sure that you finish him off as a blocker. You can't let him kind of hang around if they're moving around in the pocket. He's one of those guys that gets sacks if there's 4 seconds in the pocket because he's just going to keep going and going and going, and then the tackle is going to lose leverage, and then the next thing you know, he's got a sack. So you got to make and Preston Smith, is from Mississippi State. He's another a good player, 2nd round pick in the 2015 draft. I'll tell you what, I really like him a lot too. They've got a couple of those good outside linebackers with Smith, and then with Kerrigan, and then those big inside guys. So it's a good defense up front that way.
Preston Smith's given him trouble before.
He has.
Yeah.
So
he's a long rangey guy.
All right, let's go to Redskin country before we get out of here.
Oh,
Sean in Maryland.
Hey
finish this up for us.
Great win with against the Jaguars. Loved what Dak finally did with that offense. But I'm super excited about this defense.
Why?
What makes you excited about the defense, sir? Yeah.
Because the secondary, the linebackers, but especially this line.
Okay.
And that's where my question is. We know what D-Law and David Irvin's going to bring if they stay healthy at the end of the year. But if Dorrance Armstrong and Randy Gregory, if they progress like they have been game by game, and along with Malik Collins, do you think this is a defense that can make a run like the Giants did and the Broncos did in years ago?
All right, Super Bowl run? Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I feel like just I haven't seen a defensive line like this ever with the Cowboys, and I'm going back to Charles Haley days. I mean, we had Charles Haley, and I don't know if we had Leon Ledwin after the quarterback, but I see this D line. I see a line that everyone can go after the quarterback, and I hope that's the case by the end of the year.
What he said. And when you guys were, it was earlier, I don't know how we were talking about the defensive line and the different guys. And I was thinking, you remember when Jerry Jones said this might be the most talented defensive front we've had? And I don't know if he meant in his time or whatever. And everybody was like, that's Jerry over talking again and exaggerating. And, like he had amnesia or something. Well, you know what? Get what we saw last week. If it's just a glimpse of having Malik Collins out there, David Irving out there, Gregory Lawrence, and the caller even mentioned Armstrong and Taco's playing better.
Yeah.
Now they've got to make sure they're good against the run, that they don't get this thing in their head that, we the hot boys and all we got to do is go get sacks.
Yeah.
You better stop the run first. Which Marinelli reminds them of every day. But if they do that, they got the ability to put pressure on the quarterback from across the board.
Yeah, if you had an offense that could score consistently,
they'd be even better.
Yeah, like if you had to do like what the Redskins did the other day and you get up 17-0. You
saw off, or like what they did against Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, all of a sudden that defense becomes a lot better when you all of a sudden you're playing behind a lead.
Those sacks started piling up in the second half.
Absolutely, the pressure from the sacks. Yeah.
Sean, thanks for the call. We got to get out of here, guys. Good show, good discussion. Bill will be back tomorrow, and we'll continue breaking down Cowboys-Redskins.
I told him to finish that show in time to join us.
He's a busy, busy man, and so is Kent Garrison. Thanks for producing. We'll see you guys on Thursday.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.